Today I want to take you on a journey to the top of Mount Everest. Climbing to the top of the world had been a dream of my family's for many years. Each of the 5 members of my family had climbed one or more of the world's 7 summits, which are the highest mountains on each of the 7 continents. In order to prepare for Mount Everest, we decided to tackle Everest together as a family. Mount Everest is located in the heart of the Himalayan mountains on the border of Nepal and Tibet. It's just over 29,000 vertical feet in elevation, 8,850 meters, making it the highest point on Earth at its summit. One of the neat villages we came to is called Namche Bazaar. It's at about 11,000 vertical feet. And we spent a few days at Namche because at this point we needed to start acclimatizing. As you move higher on the mountain, the air becomes thinner with less oxygen. And you need to give your body time to adapt to these new conditions. And at this point, the most important thing, this altitude, the most important thing is to just not go up too fast. Because if you do go up too fast, you run the risk of getting acute mountain sickness, which leads to pulmonary edema, where the blood leaks into your lungs and will suffocate you, or cerebral edema, it leaks into your brain, causes you to go blind, and if you don't get down very fast, you will die. So acclimatization is extremely serious. At about 14,000 feet, we came to a little village called Periche, and this is the first time we met up with my mother. As she'd been to base camp and was attempting to climb up another smaller peak called Island Peak, when she unfortunately fell, tore her Achilles tendon and part of her calf muscle, and had to abandon her attempt of Everest. So we got to spend one day with my mother at Periche before she started down and we continued up. At one point, my brother and I went ahead of my father and sister, and we came to a little village called Lopuche. And when we arrived there, it was quite late in the day. There was only a few tea houses, so we decided to stay in this porterhouse that you see in the background. They managed to find us a room, we couldn't stand up in it, and they advertised it as the room with the view. So this is our lovely view. But the worst part was, our room was located right above the kitchen, and all night the smoke from the kitchen would come up between the walls and pour into our room. And there's no trees at this altitude. What they do is they burn dried yak poop. So you can imagine how lovely it was. You could call this the Hillary Step section. We got up the Hillary Step and we're looking up at the summit of Everest. And I realized we're going to make it to the top of the world. So we spent about 15 to 20 minutes at the summit before we started to head down. And my biggest scare happened just after going down the Hillary Step section when I ran out of oxygen. I ripped off my oxygen mask, collapsed on this chunk of ice, just gasping for breath. And I remember just how scared I was. I turned to one of our Sherpas who was behind us, and I said, I can't go on, I need oxygen. And that's when I really started to panic. I thought, I'm going to die up here, as over 200 people had before me. So Sir Edmund Hillary once said, it's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. And after looking back at our journey on Mount Everest, I think this is a very true quote. It's as much of a mental challenge as anything else. Thank you very much.